Welcome to the 100% restoration and remodel of my great-great-grandfather's $7,000 mansion. Notice how we have this big old massive pile of concrete, and then we have a big pile of dirt here, we have a big pile of dirt there, we have a big pile of dirt over there, and then if we go over here, we have a huge hole in the ground and a hole chopped right in the side of the house. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be working on a project that I have been looking forward to for an extremely long time. We currently have big piles of dirt down in the basement. We are going to get these picked up out of here into the skid loader bucket. And if all goes well, we're gonna get started on demolishing this concrete floor. So the whole reason why we built this ramp and cut a hole in the side of the foundation wall was so that way we could get materials in and out of the basement a whole lot easier while we were doing the demolition work. And holy cow, this dog just scaled a 5-foot straight up wall. What the heck, dog? But getting materials in and out of the basement easier was only one of the reasons why we made the hole. We made the hole extra big so that way we could get equipment down underneath of the basement. Now this skid loader is much too large to be able to fit down there. But the good news for us is that's not our only skid loader. This is our other skid loader, which is about half of the size of the one that we currently have down in the hole. So you're either gonna be on Team Cole today or Team Roman. Team Cole thinks that we can bring this skid loader down underneath of the house and be able to get all the dirt out of there and do demolition work with this. But Team Roman thinks we need to rent one of those Dingos, the stand behind ones that you stand on and then be able to maneuver underneath. He doesn't think this one's going to work. So we're gonna try to get this one down in the basement and see if it works. If it works, we're gonna use it. If it doesn't, we're gonna have to go with Roman's idea and go rent one of the stand behind ones. Now, regardless of if we use our own skid loader or we rent one, it is going to be tight maneuvering down in the basement no matter what. But the big difference between our skid loader and the one that we could rent is the height. The top of the foundation wall to the bottom of the I-beam is 6 feet 6 inches. Just for size reference, our big skid loader is 7 feet tall, so it is 6 inches too tall to fit inside of the basement. It's much too wide and everything else, but way too tall. And the moment of truth for our skid loader, it is, 6 feet 3 inches to the top of the cab, and then if we go to the top of the light, oh boy, 6'7". It's 1 inch too tall. We'd have to take off the light. Oh boy, they got that thing mounted on there. If you sided with Team Roman, congratulations. We're renting a stand behind machine. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the rental store. So let's take a look at what they got. They got a sky lift. We don't need one of those. What are these? These are walk behind something. Ooh, I'm not sure what that is. It appears to be a cutter of some sort, maybe? I have no idea what that is. Got walk behind trenchers right here. Got a big one, got a small one, little walk behind dump loader things. Got the mini excavators, got the bigger excavators. But this is what we are looking for. I brought my tape measure. I'm gonna get some measurements on these guys, but I believe this MT100, it lifts 1,000 pounds. This is what we would be looking at using. Wait a second, these are 100s, but this is a 55. This one might be even smaller. We're gonna measure 96 inches. And then with the bigger one, the one that can lift 1,000 pounds from the front of the bucket to the back of the little platform, it's 108 inches. But when I stepped around the back side of the machine, I realized I just made a measuring mistake on these smaller ones. I measured from right here to the front of the bucket. I didn't pay attention to the fact that it has this big stand-on platform that sticks out another 3 feet out of the back. So we are going to be getting one of these bad guys right here with the platform up above, and you can jump on it, and look at that, we got all the controls, and holy cow.
Wow, is it new? Not even a scratch on it.
All right, Roman, no horse playing with it, no wheelies, no jumps. All right, let's yank that chain through. Let's give this guy a spin. So now that we got the Dingo inside of the basement, Justin and Roman are working on moving a couple of these support poles just a little bit wider, so that way we have a little bit more room to turn around. We need to be able to get to the back half of the basement because there's a lot of dirt piles over there that we need to get to, especially over in that room. And then we have a spot right here where we may have to do a little shoveling because we don't have a lot of maneuvering room between the wall and right here. Same within that corner. But the main reason why we actually needed this machine, which I didn't even think about earlier, was this back room. Our skid loader would be much too big to fit in here. And there is a lot of dirt in here. And so the dirt is actually not our main concern because that's relatively easy to get out, even if we had to do it with buckets and carry it over to the entrance we cut. The big thing that we want to be able to take care of, rip the concrete out, and then underneath the concrete, we have more soil. And we need to take about 6 inches of it out through the entire basement. So that is where the Dingo is really going to shine. Then once we get a full bucket, just like we do now, then we'll pull the other skid loader down right here outside. We'll pull this up the little ramp. We'll just dump it right in the bucket on the other side of the wall. Then the big skid loader will take and dump it up on the pile. And the Dingo will go back to get another load. We have now put 30 minutes of engine time on the Dingo. Here are my thoughts. First up, the controls. I didn't have to learn how to do anything because it is the exact same as our big skid loader. So this does all the bucket functions and this does the forward, back, left and right. And then we have our throttle right in the middle. Upon looking at the serial number on the side, this is a brand new 2024 model and it has 35.7 hours on it. So if we get a dent in it, I don't know what's gonna happen. We'll blame it on Roman, but we're not gonna get a dent in it. Initially, when we talked about getting this, I knew it would be handy, but I thought the bucket was going to be like carrying around just a little handful of dirt at the time, but surprisingly enough, the bucket is deceptively big. Basically, 2 buckets will fill the skid loader, and then the skid loader will be full and we have to take it away. So I'm definitely not complaining with the performance of the bucket. In 30 minutes of runtime, we were able to clean out half of the basement, so we have 1 room left of dirt to get out. We did use some of our dirt to make little paths going across where we tore out the center wall before. We had drop-offs, and it's pretty rough with the tracks going off the concrete that's been cut. So we did take a couple piles and make little canals or channels, roads, whatever you want to call them. And now that we have those in place, we have 1 room left. We're gonna get the dirt out. Once we get the dirt out, then we're gonna get started ripping up this concrete. Uh-oh. My dad and Cooper ran off to go dig a grave and they took the big skid loader with tracks, so it's just a little bit of enough soft clay down there. The one with wheels is having issues climbing up the ramp.
Paul is going back and forth trying to pack the dirt, but we're not sure if it's gonna work.
Fans up here in the window, we have them on high. Definitely making a big difference in this room. I wish I could get some more in this room, but I don't really have much for window windows over there. The wind's coming out of this direction, straight in those windows. It's pretty easy to keep this room nice and easy breathing air, but it's a little bit stickier over here, especially in that back corner. I guess we're just gonna have to run for a little bit. If it gets too smoky in here, we're just gonna have to shut it off, let it air out. We'll get some fresh air outside, and then we'll just restart and keep repeating that cycle. Renting equipment can be expensive. It was $950 to rent the Dingo for a week after taxes and everything. But look at it from this perspective. When we poured this center wall of the house, we had to tear it out about a 6-foot wide chunk of concrete all the way to that back wall. It took Justin, Roman, and I all day, and at the end of the day, we were absolutely shot. Bring the Dingo in today, we got this entire corner area, I'd say twice what we tore out before. We got it done in an hour and maybe 15 minutes of actual manual labor, swinging the hammer, picking things up. The rest are just sitting watching the Dingo carry it away. Absolutely incredible tool. If we bring it down to a per hour rental rate that the Dingo is charging us, it is $23.75 an hour. So somebody to be able to be this productive, we would gladly hire them for $23.75 an hour. So super stinking useful tool. It's gonna take us like a day to get this basement floor done. Where's this thing been?
So while that room that we've been working in is airing out, we're gonna move into this room. And to get started, we need a little section to break up so we can scoop the bucket underneath of it and start lifting it up.
We're running into some problems getting started in this room. We have some cinder blocks right here in the doorway, so we kind of have to go up and over them. So Roman took the jackhammer and he broke a spot out, and Justin's been using the sledgehammer to help break it out. But we just can't get enough leverage underneath this concrete. And also, this concrete is a lot thicker than what's over here. Some of the spots we were in over here, it was barely even 2 inches thick, if that. And so it broke apart really easy. Like, this is one of the thicker spots we were running into over here, and it broke apart. But over there, that is proving to be a bear. Let's try it again.
Let's try it again.
No. Let's try it again.
I have a feeling that we're gonna be cutting this room up into little sidewalk chunks and ripping it out that way. Justin just took off for the night. It sounds like he had better things to do this evening than to help rip up concrete in the floor. So what Roman and I are going to do is try to plan ahead a little bit for tomorrow. More particularly, we are trying to get all the really fumey stuff out of the way tonight, so then when we come back in the morning, all the fumes will be gone, and then it'll make the working conditions a lot nicer. We were able to get one piece of concrete to break up, but trying to get these other ones, it looks like the concrete's just getting thicker and thicker, and we cannot get this piece to budge. So we want to cut some more slits just like this all throughout the floor. So I don't know if we're gonna do 2 or maybe 3 cuts going down the entire length of the room. So that way when we come in tomorrow, we'll at least have the big cutting stuff done, and then hopefully the floor will also be dry, and we won't be dealing in this concrete goo, and then when we walk in that, then it just picks up 5 pounds of mud on the bottom of your shoes. So we're gonna try to do that right now. There we go. Roman got this all sliced and diced. We got big sidewalk squares all throughout. We're hoping that back corner, we can come in on the corner with the Dingo, lift it up, and then once we get it lifted up, then we can smack the middle of it with a sledgehammer, and then it'll break up into a bunch of pieces. But it is extremely fumy in here, so I am going to go where I can actually breathe. Dad and Cooper got done digging the grave, so we got the track skid loader back, and that was the only reason why we had to use the wheeled one earlier down in here, which also meant that we had to bring in a bunch of extra dirt so that way it didn't get stuck, because it's kind of soft. Once we get a little bit deeper, we had to bring some dry stuff in, and you can see where it's packed down. But now that we have the track machine back, they are talking some rain coming in tomorrow. I don't know how much rain we're supposed to get, but I am concerned that since we brought in so much dirt in here earlier, that if we get any measurable rainfall, it's just going to fill up and go right down into the basement. So I'm gonna go grab the track skid loader before it gets dark, and I'm gonna dig this out again, so that way we build up our wall a little bit. Then if we get rain, hopefully we can keep as much out of the basement as we can. One more before it rains project. The other day we trenched in a new electrical line into the house, so we went right through the yard, and it's all spread kind of wide and it's still humped up. So I'm gonna bring the skid loader in. I'm gonna shave everything down flat to the grass beside it, and then we'll come in with a rake, we'll smooth everything up, and then hopefully we can get the grass to grow beside it, and then we'll just have an area this wide where the trench was, where it'll just be bare dirt, and then the grass should go right to the edge. So that way we can maybe make this a little bit less of a muddy mess. Definitely not perfect, but that looks a lot better than it did before. I was just kind of hoping to save the grass that was over here on the side, so I like to come through with the rake and I ruffle it up, and then you can get it kind of looking like this. I did hit it with a little bit of water. It is supposed to rain tonight and tomorrow, but I wanted to pre-water it so that way when the rain hit it, it was already soft and it would go down in, because it's actually kind of hard right here. But this is all good. I'm not even gonna bother trying to throw down grass seed right now, because we're gonna be doing a bunch of work around here with equipment and everything else, and now that I'm saying that, I probably didn't even need to do what I just did, because we're gonna be tearing this up, but it sure made me feel better, and it allowed me to get some fresh air, so that's how I'm justifying it. We'll do a little walk around before the sun goes down, and then we won't be able to see anything. I was able to get the ramp scraped out nice. Oh, if we get some rain, hopefully it just soaks down into the ground, but if it pulls up down here, hopefully it won't go into the basement and flood everything out. We got that back corner done. This part will probably take us about 30 minutes if it goes anything remotely like that corner. Then we got this all chopped up. It smells a lot better in here now, not quite as fumy, but you can definitely still smell it. So hopefully when we get back here in the morning, all of this will be dried up. It won't be so muddy, goopy, stick to our feet. And then hopefully cutting this in chunks will also help it be able to break out, which it should, but you never know. Maybe we hit a spot that's like 10 inches thick, and we'll have to cut them even smaller. And then we have this area over here, which based on this chunk of concrete we have sitting right here, it is that thick. So about 2 inches, should break up pretty stinking easy. We are narrowing down on the demolition work in the house, and before we know it, we will not have any demolition work to do anymore, and then everything we have left for the restoration and the remodel will just be building. Once we get the basement stuff done, then we will just have this landing to tear out, these bottom stairs to tear out, these stairs to tear out, and then that is pretty much it for the demolition side of things. Then it is building from there on out. But speaking of building, we have some demolition stuff yet to do, and Justin went home, Roman went home. It's starting to get dark, I'm starting to get tired, I'm starting to get hungry, so this is all I got for today. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one.